My name is Erin, and today I'm excited to be filming my January TBR. It's the first of the year, and I'm ready to get started. Okay, so I have a new board. So on my board I have a mini boss and a final boss, a reward section. I have some for prompts. I have some for my character's animal spaces. I have some for just the top card and even rolling different dice. So I'm excited to move into this board. I do have minis coming for this, but shipping, you know, it's taken a bit. So you're gonna see me rolling and moving just little sticky notes for now until we get the minis in place. But I'm excited to start using this and see what books I'm gonna be reading for January. Okay, my first roll was fantasy series, and I'm just going to be drawing the first card off that deck. So this is when I have the most cards in, and the first card off the deck is The Good Luck Girl. My wonderful friend Katie got me this book. This is about a group of girls that have markings on their skin and are considered cursed, even though they're called good luck girls, and someone is hunting them down. So a group of them try and find their freedom. I don't know much about this, but I am excited to read it. I know it is the first book in a series, so even though I have a ton of series coming up, this one is another one I'm going to start. For drawing number 2, we have short stories and poems. And again, we'll be drawing the first card. That's going to be the first spot for each of these books. But this one I don't have as many. I think I only have like 4 or 5 books left. As you can see, not very many cards. I'm so excited. Okay. Down Among the Sticks and Bones. I don't have this. As you can see, it has like a little dot up here. That means I'll have to get it from the library. It is the second book in the Wayward Children series. I don't know what the second book entails, but the first book was like one of my favorite reads this year. It's a nice short little novella, and I'm excited to continue on with this series. So the basic premise of the first book, in case you want to read it, because you should, is there's these kids who have come back from different worlds, whether they be fairy worlds or rainbow magic worlds, or like our main character, the underworld, where it's not quite as happy as some other people's worlds that they visited. But these kids all struggle with coming back into reality. They struggle with reconnecting with their parents and kind of dealing with the aftermath of what they've gone through. The first book was surprisingly deep and dark, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So hopefully the second one is just as good. First, roll number 3, we're going to pull the first card in the mystery deck, mystery thriller deck. Another one that I don't have a lot of, and I'm pretty sure like 2 of the 3 that I have are Goosebumps, but let's see how this goes. Yeah, I'll have 3 cards, and our first one is, just like I said, R.L. Stine's The Haunted School. Here it is, The Haunted School by R.L. Stine. We have Tommy, and he's going through some family trouble at home. His dad just got remarried, and so he's moving to a new school, and he's struggling with this new school, and it gets even worse when he starts hearing voices of kids crying for help. Roll number 4 was fantasy and fiction. Any of those standalones or contemporaries, and another stack that I have tons of on my TBR. First one, Housekeeping by Maureen Robinson. Let me see if I can find this. So here we go. It's a nice short book, Housekeeping by Marilyn Robinson. I I'll be honest, I don't have high hopes for this book, but it is short, so maybe that'll help me get through it. It is about two girls who are growing up and kind of finding their way. So a coming of age story. They live with their grandma and some eccentric aunts, and I think they've kind of are suffering from the loss of their mother. So just kind of moving into adulthood, it seems like. Coming of age stories have never really been something I enjoy a lot. I don't dislike them, but they're never my favorites. So we'll see. It does have an award. Rule number 5 was another new genre, and that was the classics. So let me pull the first card on my classics pile. King Lear, William Shakespeare. I've been reading the No Fear Shakespeare. I was supposed to actually read one last month, didn't get to it. So King Lear is on my list for this month. I don't know anything about the story of King Lear. Okay, so for roll number 6, we actually had our first re-roll, and that was for the mystery genre, which I'm going to draw a prompt for and try and find a book that fits. This one's going to be a little bit trickier because I only have 2 books to choose from, but we'll see if we can make it work. My current prompt jar is just my box set for the first Mistborn Era 1 books. Hoping to get that fixed soon. Jar on the way. Jar and minis. So all of these prompts have like a D&D kind of feel to them. So let's see what we get and if it'll work for this. Okay. The lake ahead is filled with glowing sea stars. Find a book with a beautiful cover. Okay, so I have 2 options. I think I'm going to go with A Flower in the Attic by V.C. Andrews. I've been hearing people talk about this recently. I don't know much. Actually, I don't know anything about what it's about, but I've seen some pretty cool classics covers of this one, I think. I'll try and put one up here, maybe, if I find it. But this is the one I'm going to go for. So, I have a lot of books that I don't actually have to stack up for you. We'll see what my stack looks like. Number 7, I got to choose, and because I have so many fantasy series, I went ahead and moved that character up another space so I get to draw a prompt for my fantasy series. Let's see what we get. You've been blessed and feel well rested. Read a 4-star or higher on Goodreads. So let me do some digging. All right, I'm gonna go start another series for no reason other than I want to read this book, and that is A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This is a sci-fi. It is focusing on the characters on the spaceship as they travel through the galaxy and go on adventures. I've heard it's got really good found family and that people love not just the first book, but the series as a whole. And it's coming out with, I think it came out with the next book in the series, like book number 6 this year. So it's about time that I start this one. Roll number 8 was a graphic novel, and that's the first time I rolled that. So I'm going to draw the top card. I have a few of these, and the first one, oh, yay! Okay, Saga Volume 2. I don't have this one. I'm going to have to get it from the library. You may be noticing that I have quite a few on this list that aren't actually on my shelves. My goal is to read my physical TBR books, but I've realized that I bought a lot of the first books to a series, and so I keep starting series and never finishing them. So I did stick some follow-ups to some that I've read recently, and Saga Volume 2 is on that list. So Saga Volume 1 follows these 2 characters who are on opposite sides of the war, and they end up meeting and falling in love and have a cute little baby together who's actually the narrator of this story. So they are trying to escape from the warring planet because neither side wants people to know that they can get along, because if you can get along, the war's not really that important anymore. Everybody is after them. Both sides want to find them and stop them from escaping. That was set up in Volume 1. I'm kind of excited to see where Volume 2 takes us. I love having the baby as the narrator, and there were some pretty cool, like, ghost kid characters. Let me see if I can find a picture. I mean, the artwork is beautiful. But yeah, these little ghost kids, I love them, and I'm hoping to get more of them as well. So. Two more rolls. We had a friend recommendation, so I went with short stories because there's one I have in mind, but I have to see if I can fit it in with the prompt. So the prompt we have, okay, this works. Take the next step in a quest. Complete a goal. And my goal is to get this book done so I can give it back to the person. A Stainless Steel Trio. This is 3 books in one. It follows a character named the Rat, who is apparently a bad guy that has to work with the good guys in book 1. In book 2, he has to avenge a murder, and in book 3, he has to help find a missing alien. So it seems very all over the place. It also feels like it's going to be a great, hilarious read. I don't think it's supposed to be taken seriously, but we'll see how this one goes. For my last prompt, I got a nonfiction. So let's look at my nonfiction deck. I have a few of these. Not quite as many as some of the others, but definitely still a solid chunk. And the first one is, oh gosh, The Assassin's Gates. I originally thought, I mixed this up, you can see the colors are a little bit funny because I thought this was The Assassin's Game at first. Assassin's Gate is totally different. So here we go, Assassin's Gates. This is by George Parker. So this is kind of America's, well, it says right there, America in Iraq, and how, you know, our actions and involvement in Iraq kind of turned into just chaos, why we went into Iraq in the first place, and I'm assuming kind of the truths and myths behind all of that. It's a pretty chunky book. I can't say that I'm excited to read a nonfiction that's this big. It's definitely intimidating because nonfiction, and especially looking at the history of different wars, is not up my alley. But I am interested to learn more about the topic. I think that is one good thing about nonfiction, even if they're not always my favorite. They learn so much from them. So here's that book. So as far as a stack goes, this is my January TBR so far, along with a few others that I'll have to get from the library, but not too bad. A good mix of short and long. We'll see if this will be a good reading month. Now, any book I don't get done, it doesn't count against me. There's no punishment. I just move my character back, and they don't get to go to that space. So they're not as close to the reward. Speaking of rewards, when I do a mini boss, if I pass that mini boss, I get to pick a reward from my jar. They all have like purple little lines on them, so I don't get them mixed up with my prompts. They're all things I've saved up for, but for whatever reason I end up buying something else first. Books and board games are in there, but there's also things like slippers and one of those water bottles that like has the lines on it so you can tell how much water you drank. I don't know why I just haven't gone and bought that, but I always end up buying something else instead. So if I draw it, it'll finally give me the excuse to actually pick that up. So I'm excited to work my way through this, hopefully get my TBR down. I read over 100 books in 2020. I don't see that continuing, but who knows? The year before I read 35 books, so huge difference, and very hard to tell what this upcoming year will be like. If it'll be probably somewhere in the middle is my guess, but we'll see. All right, thank you guys for coming to hang out. I hope you start your year off well. Make some goals for yourself. or don't. But if you do, let me know. So I'm excited to see what this year brings. So, all right. I will see you later. Bye.